Morning Panthers. Make sure you check out our social media at GEMS TV at 916.
Tardy Sweep is a new thing at our school, so why don't you take a deeper look at it?
What is a tardy sweep? It's a question many people have.
Basically, it is where staff members are outside during passing period so that as soon as the bell rings, we're making sure that every kid is in class. We've always had a tardy rule. Kids should be in class on time and ready and prepared. The reason we decided to start doing the tardy sweeps randomly is because there's so many students that are late to class and might not be getting the consequences and think that it's not a big deal that they're walking in late to class, which disrupts everybody else and the teacher and the classroom dynamics. So if a student's tardy during a tardy sweep, it's an immediate lunchtime detention. If they're tardy at other times, then teachers would be documenting it, and once they hit a certain number, it becomes a referral, which then becomes a lunch detention as well.
Now let's ask a teacher on their thoughts of this. What do you think about tardy sweeps?
I love the tardy sweeps.
What is the biggest reason you think kids are late to class?
I think kids are late to class because they're standing around talking to their friends and not using their time wisely.
Now we know more about tardy sweeps. This is reporter Silvana Ortiz with videographer Enrique de la Cruz with GEMS TV.
Pierre asked some students, would you rather have a rainy or a sunny day? Let's see what students said.
Today on GEMS TV, we're asking students, would you rather have a sunny day or a rainy day?
Sunny day.
Rainy day. Sunny.
Sunny day.
Rainy day. Sunny day. Sunny day. Sunny day.
Rainy. And now it's time for sports.
Seventh grade girls flag football won against Cabot, while the 8th grade put up a fight but still lost.
7th grade and 8th grade boys volleyball both lost to Cabot. Next week is the last week for all league games. Now back to the desk.
8th graders get to go to Sunsplash as their end of the year activity. Enrique took a deeper look.
For 8th graders, there are many end-of-the-year activities. One of those activities is a Sunsplash trip with Miss Hargis.
For the Sunsplash trip, Mrs. Freeman is amazing and does most of the behind-the-scenes work as far as like collecting the permission slips and the money and all of that. So what I'm specifically in charge of, along with the other 8th grade chaperones, is making sure that all students are on the bus before we leave and that all students are back on the bus in the afternoon when we leave. I highly recommend that 8th graders do not get this trip taken away, but in the last 7 weeks, which is basically now, if you get a referral, you lose the privilege of getting to go, and you also do not get the money refunded. So what's included in the Sunsplash trip is transportation, and you also get lunch there, so you don't need to bring any extra money unless you want to. And it's a lot of fun to have with your friends, so yeah.
Now let's ask some students who are going on the Sunsplash trip. Are you excited to go on the Sunsplash trip?
The wave pool.
Thank you. Excited to go to the Sunsplash?
I'm excited to go to the water slides.
This is reporter Enrique de la Cruz with videographer Silvana Ortiz Angel with GEMS TV.
Now we'll leave you a video about SBAC. Have a great day, Panthers.
Hello, Panthers. I'm Joseph Irigoyen. I've studied SBAC for quite some time now, and I'll show you how it works. Your first 15 questions on the CAT determine what types of questions you get later on in the test. When you answer those early questions correctly, you receive harder questions. When you answer early questions incorrectly, you receive easier questions. Later on, we'll show you a skit on how it works. For now, Nevin, the first student, likes math and does well. This was his performance on the first 15 questions. What I want to show you here is each of the questions, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, is along the x-axis of this graph. And if the question is easy, medium, or hard, that's its placement on the y-axis of the graph. The red and the green dots indicate whether Nevin answered correctly or incorrectly. Correct answers are represented with a green dot, and incorrect answers are represented with a red dot. He did well on the first 15 questions, so he got harder questions. You can see that most of his incorrect questions were those hard questions, but most of his correct questions were the easy and medium questions. After he finishes this section, the cat finds his performance level and determines whether he got the standard. He did very well on those easy, medium questions, and so the cat decides to give him more hard questions. He gets harder questions later on in the exam, since he's already proven that he can do the easy and medium questions well. Now let's move on to Bodhi, the second student. Bodhi struggles with math more than Nevin. This was his performance on the first 15 questions. You can see, compared to Nevin's graph, there's quite a few more red dots in the medium section, as opposed to green dots there. He didn't do quite as well on the first 15 questions. So for the rest of the test, he got easier questions. The cat decided that mostly correct answers were going about to the medium section, and everything above that was a bit too hard for him. So it challenged him with questions that were appropriate for his level, more easy and medium questions for the rest of the test. This slide here that we're looking at shows what happens as Bodhi continues the test. The test is trying to find your exact range, and so it's going to give you questions that are very close towards the end of the exam, very close to your actual level. In this case, Bodhi's level is somewhere in this range here. As he answers questions correctly with a green dot, the next question gets a tiny bit harder. But as he answers questions incorrectly, represented with a red dot, the next question gets a tiny bit lower. One thing you should know about this is, as you take this test, towards the end of the test, you might feel like you're getting about half the questions right, about half the questions wrong. And that's because the test has basically found your level, where everything above that level is a little too hard for you and everything below that level is a little bit too easy. And so you'll probably be getting about every other question correct and incorrect. Finally, do your best on this test. I'm going to skip ahead to this section here. Do your best on this test and get your best standard, especially in those first questions. Those first 30 minutes are probably the most important for the cat because the cat adapts to your performance. You'll probably answer about half the questions correctly overall for the full test, but if you can do particularly well in that first section of the test will continue to give you questions that match a higher level of performance, and you'll end up scoring much better. Also, don't forget to never give up. Even if you go through a particularly tough patch of questions, once you answer a few questions correctly in a row, your score will improve as the test gives you slightly harder questions from there. I'm Joseph Irigoyen. Thank you for listening, Panthers, and now on to the skit.
The Panther, aka the cat, will give the two students, Nevin and Bodhi, 4 easy questions, 6 medium questions, and 3 hard questions, and 2 very hard questions. The cat writes down Nevin's 15 first questions and finds the performance level of him and gives them those type of questions. The cat gives Nevin 8 medium questions and 7 hard questions. The cat writes down those questions and gives Nevin a 70% or 70 score. The cat writes down Bodhi's first 15 questions and finds the performance level of him and gives them those type of questions. The cat gives Bodhi 8 easy questions and 7 medium questions. The cat writes down those questions and gives Bodhi a 50 score.
Hello, I'm Jeremy Morrison. I'm an 8th grader right now here at Glen Edwards Middle School. I'm graduating soon. I will be going to Lincoln High School, as you can probably see here, and about 1 month till the end of the year, a few more until it starts. I made this skit and explanation thanks to Ms. Fernandez, the principal here at Glenn Edwards Middle School, and thanks to Joseph Rigolin. I know how the SBAC works. As soon as I am making this, it is 2025. I hope this video will go on in this school, maybe even around the country. Hopefully this skit and explanation will help and/or help you with the SBAC.
The company's like family, from the top to the bottom, and you feel that support no matter what part of the company you're in. You feel the support of the whole family.
My dad, he's worked here for 28 years. My brother, he's been working here for 6 years. I graduated high school, waited till I was 18, saw a job opening, applied, and just kind of staying with it. The company's been huge for my whole family and possibly maybe my kids one day.
We're not a company of numbers, we're a company of people. I think it comes from Red Emerson. His greatest asset is the people that work for him. It's more than just working here. You know their families, you know what they do, you know their kids play baseball. It's definitely a family operation.
I went to my younger brothers that also works for Sierra Pacific. I looked on the bar stool and I seen his pay stub. I was like, wow, you're making that kind of money? He goes, yeah. And I said, well, the next time they're hiring, then you let me know. That was 14 years ago, and so that's how I got started.
We treat people like family. They aren't just employees. The strength of the company is the people, number one, and that forest resource, number two.
GEMS TV would like to thank our sponsors. Platinum level sponsors: Siller Construction, Lincoln Junior Zebras, Sierra Pacific. Gold level sponsors: Lincoln Museum, Mi Alegria Mexican Antojitos, Jensen Landscaping, Quality Metal Heating and Air. Silver level sponsors: Far West Rents and Ready Mix, Empire Gymnastics Center. Thank you for watching GEMS TV.